Every week, hundreds of wounded Syrians are fleeing the conflict at home, crossing the border to the relative safety of neighbouring Lebanon. Virtually all of them require food, water and shelter, but many have more acute needs. According to the UN, an estimated 2,000 of some 28,000 Syrian refugees now living in Lebanon came with injuries sustained in the uprising. Ammar Idris is recovering in a hospital in the northern Lebanese city of Tripoli after he was shot while attending a protest in Syria.
All I saw were bullets flying. The government security service is shooting at us.
Going to a Syrian hospital would have been too dangerous, Idris says, because people showing up injured there are suspected of being directly involved in the uprising and are met with harsh treatment by government forces. So when Idris was shot in early May, he elected to be smuggled at night across the border. It was a dangerous journey.
The border was mined, but the Free Syrian Army had secured a small path, just enough to let the injured through. When we reached the border, the government security forces started to fire at us with their tanks. It was risky.
Wounded Syrians have been showing up at Lebanese border towns with varying frequency since the conflict started in early 2011. These days, a clutch of NGOs and the Red Cross are there to pick them up.
We have a special team in our ambulance and special equipment to do the triage and the treatment. We are transporting the cases, and also we are giving blood donation.
But back when the uprising started, there was no such response along the border. Initially, an informal network of safe houses and improvised clinics developed, staffed mostly by refugee Syrian medics. They provided refugees wounded in the conflict with essential medical care, but often in less than ideal circumstances, both in terms of sanitation and security. So the Red Cross and other organisations over the past 8 months moved healthcare for Syrian refugees in Lebanon from these safe houses into mainstream Lebanese hospitals, like this one in Tripoli, where Idris is being treated. The trade-off for this improved setup is that Syrian medics can no longer treat their compatriots. By law, they are forbidden from working as doctors in Lebanon without taking medical equivalency exams. This doctor was a surgeon back home in Syria, but here he is more of an administrator than a doctor. Fearing possible reprisals back home, this doctor and these patients requested that their identities be hidden.
I used to work as an ER doctor in Syria, but my work here is limited to overseeing our own Syrian injured patients. They are sent from the border area and we greet them. We take them into surgery, and sometimes I sit in on surgeries because of the experience I gained doing surgery in Syria.
While the medical response in Lebanon has been improving for Syrians, it is also expensive and therefore hard to sustain. The trouble, says Katani of the Lebanese Red Cross, is that no one knows how long the uprising will continue or how long the injured refugees will keep coming.
The challenge is we have to see if the capacity of the hospitals, first of all, and the finance, the cover to cover these people in the hospitals. If it will continue for a long term, to see who's going to cover. Funding, yes, to fund later on, yeah.
Meanwhile, back at the hospital in Tripoli, both the Syrian surgeon and patient Ammar Idris are eager to see an end to the fighting, so as they can return home. For the Wall Street Journal, this is Duncan in Tripoli, Lebanon.